Good morning, voters. Today we have one announcement to share with all of you. Report cards are in. The bipartisan Indiana Coalition for Public Education has issued the 2018 Legislative Report Card. Results are in for Indiana House District Representative Greg Steuerwald, so let's see how our representative tested in his support of public education. Our representative didn't do so well in his support of public schools. His final grade for 2018 was a D. Yes, a D. Let's take a few moments to review each bill, the correct vote that supports public education, and how our current representative voted. Let's begin our review. Indiana House Bill 1001 in 2017 raised taxpayer support of private schools by 19%, while only raising support of public schools by taxpayers by 1.6%. This was less than inflation and far less than the 2015 2.3% increase for public schools. The lack of adequate funding for public education led to the need for legislators to allocate additional funds in 2018. The correct vote to support public schools was no. Greg Steuerwald voted yes. Indiana House Bill 1005 removed the power to elect the state superintendent of public instruction and gave the power to appoint the state superintendent to the governor. Our current elected superintendent of public instruction has already announced she will not seek re-election, and the State House is discussing accelerating the implementation of this law to 2020. The correct vote to support public schools was no. Greg Steuerwald voted yes. Indiana House Bill 1384 allowed new private schools to receive vouchers the first year of operation. They didn't have to wait a year, and they didn't have to achieve accreditation as they were previously required by law. The correct vote to support public education was no. Greg Steuerwald voted yes. Senate Bill 30. This bill provided transparency by reporting the name of the school that each voucher student transferred to in an academic year. All legislators of the Republican Party voted yes on this bill. The correct vote to support public schools was yes. Greg Steuerwald also voted yes. House Bill 1001 2018 provided supplemental funding support to all schools. This increase was not additional funding for additional programs and services, but rather an accounting correction, a math error, if you will. Our legislators didn't budget adequate funds and had to pass this bill in order to address the shortfall for our public schools. The correct vote to support public education was yes. Greg Steuerwald and all legislators voted yes to this bill. Indiana House Bill 1315 SS. You will know this bill as the Muncie School Corporation and the Gary School Corporation bill. By passing this legislation, public school districts no longer must have school boards of district residents. In other words, you don't have to live in the district to serve on the board. No longer must every school district follow the education laws of the state of Indiana, and no longer must every public school district receive letter grades. The correct vote to support public schools was no. Greg Steuerwald voted yes. As you can see, Greg Steuerwald has voted numerous times against the best interest of our community. He has failed our children, our parents, our teachers. He has failed our public schools. But this election season, you can stand up for public education. You can raise your voice, and you can vote. Vote Callan on November 6th. As your state representative, I will fight for public schools, for proper funding of our schools, for a moratorium on charter schools, for charter schools and private schools receiving taxpayer dollars to be held to the same accountability as our public schools, for teachers' wages and for their bargaining rights, and I will stand in the gap for public education in Indiana. Vote Callan on November 6th. Vote for public education.